China's artificial ancient towns have been facing a lot of challenges. Many of these imitation projects across the country have either become unfinished or abandoned, or have turned into ghost towns after completion. The large number of failed projects following years of construction has drawn attention. An artificial ancient town is a place that isn't a real cultural heritage site. Instead, it's built in a carefully chosen location, with traditional Chinese-style pavilions, bridges, and flowing water all created to give a sense of an ancient traditional atmosphere. Let's take a look at an introduction to these artificial ancient towns from a blogger called Financial Sleepless Sister. In the past 8 years, 5 billion RMB has been lost, and what was once a crowded scene has now turned into a nearly empty one. Mass-produced cultural tourism towns are becoming ghost towns. Have you ever visited an ancient town for tourism? How was your experience? In 2021, an article called A Death List of Characteristic Towns spread online, stating that at least 100 cultural tourism towns had failed and shut down, and the number has only increased since then. In Chengde City, Hunan Province, the Beach Blossom Source ancient town, built with 5 billion RMB over 8 years, now has almost no visitors, and many businesses have closed down. In Zhangjiajie, the Dayong ancient city, which was built with 2 billion RMB, sells fewer than 20 tickets a day, with accumulated losses of 647 million RMB, and is on the verge of bankruptcy. Similarly, the Chengdu Longtan water town, also built with 2 billion RMB, became a ghost town just 4 years after opening, with almost 50 businesses shutting down. How many of these ancient towns are there in China? Back in 2012, there were over 2,800 ancient towns under development or already built in China. The current number is even higher, but many of these towns are fake. Out of the historical and cultural towns recognized by the Ministry of Housing and Urban-Rural Development and the State Administration of Cultural Heritage, only 312 are truly famous, including towns like Jingdezhen, Wuzhen, and Fenghuang. The rest of the thousands of ancient towns are mostly fabricated and whipped up on a whim without authenticity. Today, we'll introduce a few of these man-made ancient towns and explain why they ended up becoming ghost towns. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. Dahuayuan Ancient Town, Chengde, Hunan Province. Taohuayuan Ancient Town is located about 50 kilometers southwest of Chengde City, Hunan Province, right next to the Taohuayuan Scenic Area. The first phase of the project was completed in May 2017. According to official reports, the town covers around 1,600 acres, with the main scenic area spanning over 400,000 square meters. It was designed as a blend of traditional restaurants, a 5-star hotel, boutique inns, Ming and Qing-style commercial streets, traditional courtyards, and apartments. The total investment reached 5 billion RMB, but now it has become a ghost town. Let's follow the blogger Baozi Travel Life as we take a look at the current abandoned state of Taohuayuan Ancient Town. This is the saddest ancient town I've ever seen. It was built with an investment of 5 billion RMB, but now it's completely deserted with not a single tourist in sight. This place is also the model for Taoyuan Ming's famous Peach Blossom Spring. The whole town is empty, it's just the two of us, and all the shops are closed. At night, it would feel like walking through a ghost town. The architecture, materials, and craftsmanship are actually very impressive. The roads are paved with blue stone, and the shop doors are made of solid wood, giving it a high-quality feel. You can even tell from the locks that they haven't been opened in a long time, with dust all over them. Even the bridge here is made of stone slabs, unlike other towns that use cement. The materials here are truly luxurious. Even if they charged an entrance fee, I'd expect it to be packed with people. But now it's so quiet that you can only hear the birds chirping and the sound of flowing water, while all the shops are tightly locked up. Seeing all of this, I can't help but feel sad and helpless. Even the city god temple is locked up with no one around. It's hard to imagine how it ended up like this. Dayong Ancient City, Zhangjiajie, Hunan Province. Dayong Ancient City is located in Zhangjiajie, Hunan Province, a popular tourist spot in China. The movie Avatar was filmed here. Construction of the ancient city started in June 2016 and took 6 years to finish. However, since it opened in 2021, it has been losing money year after year. Blogger Tang Ziqi analyzed the reasons for the failure of Dayang ancient city. First, China's real estate bubble is serious. Second, the man-made ancient towns lack cultural depth and are highly similar to each other, which quickly wears out tourists' sense of novelty. Let's take a look at the current state of Dayang ancient city. This ancient town was the biggest cultural and tourism project in Jiangjaiji with an investment of over 2.5 billion RMB. Covering 325 acres and a building area of 185,000 square meters. However, the reality is much different. In 2023, the total revenue was just around 5.2 million RMB, with a net loss of over 647 million RMB. On average, fewer than 20 tourists visited per day, and surprisingly, the main source of income came from parking fees. So why did so many ancient towns collapse in 2024? There are two main reasons. First, the real estate bubble burst. Many ancient town projects were actually run by real estate companies. While they claimed to be cultural and tourism developments, they were really just land grabs to build houses. The second reason is that tourists have become bored with these places. So many towns look and feel the same, causing the novelty to quickly wear off. What's worse, many of these towns, in their effort to look old-fashioned, have moved out the local residents, leaving the place empty and lifeless. Without a real local atmosphere, why would tourists want to spend money to visit these places? Snow Mountain Art Town, Lijiang, Yunnan Province. Next to the ancient Shuhe town in Lijiang, Yunnan, there is a place called Snow Mountain Art Town. It has beautiful scenery, and on clear days you can see the snow-capped mountains from within the town. Chinese actor Li Yapeng is the investor behind this project. His original plan was to turn the area into an artsy lifestyle resort. From 2012 to 2015, he invested 3.5 billion RMB into the project. He even hired professionals to design over 130 standalone villas specifically for the Snow Mountain Art Town. However, reality turned out to be harsh. 2 years after the project opened, slow sales caused it to gradually stall. In 2019, there were 0 sales, and in 2020, only 26 square meters were sold. What was once a highly anticipated utopia is now deserted, overgrown with weeds, and looks desolate. As a result, Li Yapeng also ended up with huge debts. Blogger Half Immortal Travelog filmed what the art town looks like now. This place has completely fallen into ruin. Each house here features ancient-style doors and 2-bedroom, 1-living-room villas. I'm going to walk around and take a closer look. The house in front of me has its roof materials ready, but they haven't been installed. The wood looks brand new. There are a few larger villas here, so let's check out one of these abandoned mansions. Being in a place that's been abandoned for so many years feels really eerie and a bit scary. This villa has a 2-bedroom, 1-living-room layout. Here's the living room, but it's unfinished and completely left in ruins. It's such a shame. Jiangshui Town, Jiangnan, ancient city, Yiyang, Hunan Province. Yiyang, a city in Hunan Province, is located in the middle reaches of the Yangtze River in the Dongting Lake ecological zone. Historically, it's been known as a rich land of fish and rice in the Jiangnan region and is celebrated as a national forest city. Despite its great natural conditions, it still has unfinished projects like the famous Jiangnan ancient city. Construction on this ancient city began in 2014 as a cultural tourism project combining tourism, living, shopping, leisure, and business entertainment. You can't imagine that today, the Jiangnan ancient city has turned into a ghost town. Blogger Ashwen takes us to see this neglected ancient city, which is also the largest unfinished building complex in Yiyang City.
你敢相信吗？
Can you believe it? The buildings in front of me are empty, overgrown with weeds, and in a state of unfinished construction.
据说这里只
It's said that over 10 billion RMB was invested here, covering a total area of 3,500 acres. Construction began in 2014 with plans to build an ancient city, but for some unknown reason, the project suddenly stopped.
作者
It has a nice name, Jiangnan Ancient Town, Heshan District, Yiyang City, Hunan Province. It was supposed to be a 5A level tourist attraction, but it became Yiyang's largest unfinished construction project.
却成为了一
It's really puzzling.
烂尾
Apparently, the initial developer was a coal company from Shandong called Yangquang Group.
最初的开发
They started construction, but it was abandoned before the main structure was finished.
发建设的主体结构
As for why the project was abandoned, there are many theories online.
网络上众说纷纭，其中说的最
The most common one is that the developer underestimated the total costs.
使得江南古城在
So, when the project was starting to take shape, news of a financial crisis broke out. After that, no developer was willing to take over the project.
没有合适的开发商予以接盘。如今
Now, the entire ancient city is deserted,
今内部一片寂寥，
with weeds covering the ground, and the place feels completely lifeless,
无生气，宛
just like a ghost town.
一样。这座
It makes you wonder if it'll be demolished.
拆的命运。
Bailu Yuan Folk Culture Village, Shanxi Province. In May 2016, the Bailu Yuan Folk Culture Village opened in Lantian County, Shanxi Province, with an investment of over 3 billion RMB and covering 1,200 acres. The village quickly became popular, reaching a peak of 150,000 visitors per day and was one of the top tourist destinations in Xi'an. However, this boom didn't last long. Today, the village is abandoned and closed with all the businesses shut down. The alleys are filled with construction debris and the park is overrun with weeds. The blogger Brother Lee Speaks of Tea summarized the reason for the decline of Bailu Yuan Ethnic Culture Village as, "Culture can't be artificially created. It requires everyone to genuinely pass it on with heart."
花了3.5个亿。
The Bailu Yuan Folk Culture Village, which was built with an investment of 350 million RMB, has been abandoned like this. The beautiful ancient architecture has now turned into a pile of ruins. This scenic area officially opened in 2016, and during the May Day holiday, it attracted over 100,000 tourists, becoming very popular. However, due to poor management, it had to suspend operations in September 2019. Now everything is deteriorating and almost demolished. The ethnic village covers 1,200 acres and quickly became popular due to the influence of the TV series Bailu Yuan. However, in less than 4 years, it collapsed. There are two main reasons for this. The first reason is that the artificial, retro design was too excessive. The second, and more importantly, is that the rent for the shops and the prices of the goods sold kept rising, which led to fewer and fewer tourists, and the visitor flow gradually decreased. The whole scenic area became more desolate, and the grand cultural tourism project came to an abrupt end, leaving only an office behind. What remains here is very bleak. Longtan Water Town in Chengdu, Sichuan Province. Longtan Water Town is located in the core area of Longtan Headquarters Economic Zone, Chenghua District, Chengdu, covering 220 acres. The total investment is about 2 billion RMB, and it took 4 years to complete. When you enter the Longtan Water Town scenic area, you feel as though you've stepped into a traditional water town of southern China. Whether it's the pavilions, corridors, windows, or bridges, everything is exquisitely crafted, evoking the charm of the famous water towns in the region. However, after opening in 2013, the popularity didn't last long. As a result, more and more businesses started to close due to poor sales and left Longtan Water Town. Blogger Oge summarized the reason for the area's decline. It's a hollow tourist spot without cultural heritage, just soulless steel and concrete. Longtan Water Town has been open for 9 years, but it hasn't made much of an impact on the people of Chengdu. Even after all this time, it's still struggling. Today, the streets are empty, with only a few tourists occasionally stopping by to take pictures and explore. The lotus leaves on the water have already withered in the cold wind, and wooden boats floating on the surface are falling apart. Rusty railings, abandoned boats, closed shops, empty streets, and murky, dried-up waters paint a bleak picture of neglect and decline. Located in the core area of the Longtan Headquarters Industrial Base, Longtan Water Town covers over 200 acres and was built with an investment of nearly 2 billion RMB. The area is surrounded by industrial development, and the land is zoned for industrial use. The developers also built hundreds of high-rise buildings nearby, following the typical strategy of relying on the scenic area to boost real estate sales. The developers saw that Chengdu people enjoy leisure and entertainment, but they underestimated their taste and sense of beauty. This small artificial tourist spot surrounded by towering buildings lacks cultural depth and heritage. In addition, the park suffers from disorganized operations, poor visitor flow, cramped spaces, and underdeveloped transportation infrastructure. The park was bustling when it first opened, but it quickly fell into decline. Longtan Water Township, which claims to be a replica of the Qingming riverside landscape, fails to connect with the tourism market of Chengdu and its surrounding cities. Apart from the buildings, there's nothing related to its theme. It doesn't showcase the Three Kingdoms culture or Haika culture, which are popular among Chengdu locals. A theme park without cultural depth is just a soulless concrete structure. Tongguang Ancient Town in Changsha, Hunan Province. Tongguang Ancient Town, built with an investment of 10 billion RMB, was originally designed to be a classic tourist destination that blends Tang Dynasty culture, ceramics culture, Hunan culture, and a modern atmosphere. When the ancient town opened in 2018, it quickly became the subject of heavy criticism from tourists due to issues like most businesses not being open and high dining costs. In the end, it turned into a ghost town. Blogger Old Who Talks Shop revealed in a video that the shop owners who spent their life savings to purchase a storefront are now losing it all. This is the quietest ancient town in Changsha, once a huge cultural and tourism project that cost 10 billion RMB to build. The scale was enormous. Now, 7 years later, let's take a look at the storefronts here. Most of them are just empty shells, untouched. You can see the doors are locked, and there are even 2 locks on some of them. Just look at how rusty the locks are. You can't even tell how many years they've been like that. Pretty much every storefront on this row is in the same condition, locked up and closed. Over there's even a prime shop for rent, but calling it prime feels laughable since there isn't a single person around. These shops are all abandoned. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to be here alone at night. What did the owners expect when they came here? Back then, they had to fight just to get the chance to buy a storefront, even using connections to get a better spot. If you paid 200,000 RMB, someone else would offer 300,000 RMB, and the highest bidder got the spot. This street we see now, it's hard to believe, but it was sold out in just 2 hours when it first opened. Looking back now, it's nothing but desolation. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.